They told me never to swim in Lake Mercer at night, but I was young, angry, and drunk enough to think the world had no teeth left to bite me. I left the party at the lake house, staggering through the brittle reeds at the shore, moonlight splintering on the black water. It was so calm, like a mirror daring me to break it. I stripped down, toes digging into the mud, and stepped into the cold. I only meant to dunk my head and feel alive again, but when I surfaced, the silence felt different, stretched too thin. The reeds hissed in the breeze, and something splashed on the far side of the lake. I turned quickly, water rippling out in circles from me, but I saw nothing. Then I heard it, a deep, rattling breath, like air being dragged through wet leaves and hollow bones. It came from under the water, from below my feet, as if the lake itself had exhaled. I tried to convince myself it was a fish or a snapping turtle, but the ripples were too large. Something brushed against my ankle, slick and muscular, and I screamed. I tried to swim back to shore, but it felt like the lake pulled me further out with every stroke. The lights of the cabin grew smaller, wavering like distant candles, and then I felt it wrap around my leg. A hand, or something like a hand, curling around my ankle, claws digging into my skin. It pulled. I went under, eyes burning, the world turning green and black. My screams swallowed by cold water. I kicked, clawed, bubbles rushing past my face as I struggled. But it was so strong it dragged me down deeper, the surface a blurry silver ceiling I couldn't reach. That was when I saw it. It had eyes like dim lanterns, flickering with pale light in the darkness. Its face was pale, skin stretched thin over a wide, lipless mouth, teeth like splinters of bone jutting in every direction. Long strands of black hair drifted around it like weeds. It pulled me close, and I saw things moving inside its mouth, small pale limbs scratching at its teeth as if trying to crawl out. I don't know how, but I broke free. It tore a gash into my leg as I kicked, blood clouding around me in slow, dark ribbons. I swam, pulling with everything I had, breaking the surface, screaming as I coughed water and blood into the air. I felt it brushing my feet as I swam, felt it circling below me, waiting for me to tire. When I reached the shore, I fell into the reeds, crying, clutching my bleeding leg. I crawled, dragging myself through the mud, too afraid to stand, certain it would grab me again if I moved too fast. I turned back once, just once. The water was still, but I saw the shape just below the surface, the pale face peering up through the water, waiting. Its eyes flickered as if it were laughing, and then it sank deeper until the black water swallowed it completely. They found me the next morning, half conscious, covered in mud and blood, raving about the thing in the lake. They said it was a snapping turtle, maybe a big catfish, that I had imagined everything else. But they didn't see what I saw. They didn't feel that breath in the water, hear that rattling growl under the surface. They didn't see the small, pale limbs scratching to get out of its mouth. They stitched up my leg and sent me back to the lake house, but I can't sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I see it, drifting in the dark, waiting. I hear it at night, scraping at the window when it rains, whispering to me with a voice like water poured over gravel. And I can't stay away from the lake. I feel it calling to me when the moon is full, telling me it's still waiting, that it's hungry. I stand at the edge sometimes, toes in the cold mud, staring into the black water, and I see the ripples just a few feet out, as if it's pacing back and forth under the surface. Last night I saw something floating near the dock. It was small, pale, a doll or a body, drifting face down. I stepped into the water before I realized what I was doing, the cold rising up to my thighs as I waded closer. It wasn't a doll, it was a child's arm, white and bloated, reaching up from the water, and as I stared, another hand grabbed it and pulled it back under, the water closing with barely a ripple. I ran. I don't know how I made it back to the lake house, but now I can't stop looking out the window at the lake, waiting for the next ripple, the next whisper. They told me never to swim in Lake Mercer at night. I should have listened, because now I know what's in there and it knows I'm out here, and it's waiting for me to come back.
Like and subscribe to Scary Tales Story for more horror tales that will haunt your dreams and keep you checking the shadows.